It's recap time. 3, 2. Hey, quick interruption. Same chip from the drawer of the previous episode. I'm just here to tell you that if you've already listened to the previous episode, you can skip directly to the recap part. Otherwise, I'll leave you with the intro. 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and this is an unusual intro to an already unusual intro that usually happens during the recap episodes. I have experienced a technical difficulty, let's say so. I am currently away for a vacation and I brought my laptop with me to edit, but unfortunately the blueprint of the recap episodes is not present on my laptop. I have no way of recovering it, so yeah, something new needs to be created. And for your curiosity, it is being created in the closet of the house where I'm staying just to improve as much as possible the audio quality. The recap episodes are still what you know. And if you don't know, if this is the first time you ended up on this channel, they are an interesting and fast way to give you the main points and ideas of old episodes and maybe make you interested enough to go back and watch the original episodes. And if you're a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, you already know the drill. And maybe also for you, it's a way to listen again to old ideas and make something new out of them. What else to say? If you ended up making it so far already, remember the liking and subscribing are really, really welcome. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This will be the Shower Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something I think many of us wrestle with. How to cut through all the constant noise out there, find some genuine focus, and, actually grow in a world that often feels pretty overwhelming. So we're sifting through some really powerful ideas from Chip's Shower Podcast. It's a source we find incredibly insightful, honestly. And hey, if any of these concepts really resonate with you today, we definitely encourage you, go check out the original episodes, get the full experience.
Absolutely. We've pulled out 4 really compelling themes from Chip's work, and they offer these surprisingly simple, yet, quite profound answers to those everyday challenges we all face. We'll explore learning to trust your own judgment more. Then, the powerful idea of embracing uncomfortable challenges for growth. After that, the surprising effectiveness of tiny intentional resets. And finally, how to gain a totally new perspective by what Chip calls borrowing eyes.
Okay, great. Let's jump right in then. Starting with a topic that, really resonates in our social media world, doesn't it? From Chip's episode 252, which he titled, "Did You Know Pinocchio Wanted to Buy a Rolex?" Brilliant title. He really gets into this trap of comparison and how sort of subtly external voices can make us doubt the things we genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, and Chip uses this fantastic Pinocchio analogy. He points out, just like the cunning fox and cat manipulated Pinocchio, right? Tricked him into doubting himself and giving up his money. Well, we often let, online influencers or critics or maybe self-proclaimed experts sway our own genuine preferences without even realizing it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a really potent reminder that, not every external voice actually have our best interests at heart or even understands our specific situation.
It's so relatable. Chip shares this personal story about buying affordable watch homages.
Yeah.
He loved them at first, but then the opinions started rolling in,
Yeah.
Some people called them solid homages, which sounds okay, but others are like, those are just cheap copies. And he noticed this big shift in how he felt about them, even though the watches themselves were exactly the same. He observed, and I think this is really key, the watches themselves didn't change, but the way people frame them can completely shift how we feel about owning one.
And that brings up such a crucial point. It's not that the experts are necessarily wrong exactly, but their standards are often professional, highly specialized, very different from our everyday reality. Chip's insight here is that letting their specific judgment override our personal joy. That's like Pinocchio, letting strangers dictate his path. Even when their view just doesn't match his own genuine happiness, it really makes you question, whose yardstick are you actually measuring your joy against?
And Chip's really honest about feeling that self-doubt himself. He said he almost let those external opinions totally diminish his happiness. But then he stopped himself. He realized, and I love this quote, "When I wear this watch, it makes me happy. Simple as that, it's mine and not theirs. So why should I let someone else's opinion trick me into thinking my joy isn't valid?"
Yes, that moment
That moment of clarity is just so powerful.
It really is. And that kind of internal shift, it's vital. And it goes way beyond watches, obviously. Think about your music taste or your hobbies, maybe even your career choices. How often do we kind of second-guess something we genuinely enjoy because someone online, or maybe even someone we know, dismissed it as, I don't know, not good enough or too basic?
Yeah, happens all the time.
Chip's core message is that comparison steals joy by shifting the frame. It pushes us away from our own internal sense of well-being and towards these external metrics that might not matter to us at all. It can really make us doubt what feels authentic to us.
So the takeaway for you listening, Chip challenges us directly. Think of one thing you've hesitated to enjoy because of someone else's opinion, and instead of asking if it's good enough for others, ask if it's good enough for you. That's a simple question, but wow, it shifts everything.
Exactly. And ultimately, Chip's powerful thought here is, you want to be the version of Pinocchio that learns to stand on his own feet, make his own calls, and become real in his own way. Building that kind of self-trust, that authenticity, well, it often requires stepping outside our comfort zones.
Ah, good transition.
Which leads us nicely into our next idea.
Exactly, because that self-trust, it doesn't just magically appear, right? You forge it in those moments of challenge. So our next deep dive comes from Chip's episode 257, Solo Leveling in Real Life, Why the Hard Zone Levels You Up. And here, Chip introduces this concept he calls the hard zone. You know, those moments when a challenge feels really sharp, uncomfortable, maybe even a bit overwhelming. And he argues why we should actually lean into those moments.
Yeah, and what's really compelling is how Chip connects this to, well, solid psychological and neurological ideas. He brings up Lev Vygotsky's concept of the zone of proximal development.
Right, I've heard of that.
It's that sweet spot, just beyond what you can do comfortably. That's where you acquire new skills the fastest. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. That little wobble, the push to stay upright. That's where the real learning happens, not just boosting easily.
Makes sense.
And he also touches on Anders Ericsson's work on deliberate practice, which isn't just repeating something over and over. It's highly focused, intentional effort, constantly pushing yourself right to the edge of your current ability.
Okay.
That's where the brain really starts rewiring itself faster. So Chip highlights that frustration you feel. It isn't a bug in the system. It's actually a feature of the learning process.
I love that reframe frustration as a feature.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Because we all hit these hard zones every day, don't we? Could be pushing through that last rep at the gym when everything screams stop. Or wrestling with a tricky problem at work that just won't budge. Fumbling through trying to speak a new language, maybe? Or even just having one of those difficult but really necessary conversations, those moments of resistance. That's the hard zone. Precisely. And this ties in beautifully with Carol Dweck's research on the growth mindset. When you see effort and discomfort, not as proof you're failing, but as an essential part of learning, like a sign you're making progress, then you're much more likely to persist and, ultimately succeed. The hard zone stops being a barrier and becomes this powerful opportunity for real development.
Okay, so practically speaking then, how do we actually do that? Embrace this hard zone when, let's be honest, our first instinct is usually to back away. Chip offers some really good practical advice here. First, start small. Don't bite off more than you can chew initially. And when that familiar thought pops up, this is hard, he suggests pausing and intentionally reframing it. Change it to, okay, this is where the learning begins.
Yeah, it's a simple mental trick, but it can make a huge difference in how you approach it. The discomfort itself doesn't just magically disappear, but your relationship with it fundamentally changes. I love Chip's playful suggestion too. When your brain screams, this is too much, answer it back with, this is where the fun begins. It's not about ignoring the struggle, obviously. It's about consciously choosing to engage with it differently, use it as fuel. It's about cultivating that resilience, seeing effort as the path forward, not some kind of penalty.
So for you listening right now, what hard zones are you currently facing? Could you maybe try reframing them, see them as opportunities for growth rather than just obstacles to endure? It really does make you think differently about challenges. And speaking of pushing through, sometimes, even after we've been deep in that hard zone, or maybe just to prepare for it, what we really need is just a quick mental reset.
Absolutely. Because even when we're embracing growth, knowing how to reset effectively is crucial. And Chip's next insight offers a surprisingly potent solution for that.
Right. Now, this next idea from Chip, honestly, it could fundamentally change how you approach your daily breaks. It's from episode 255, 2 minutes are enough. I know what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Here, Chip introduces this, well, provocative idea of the 2-minute shower. It's about the surprising effectiveness of really short, intentional pauses. And it challenges that common belief that only big, long resets can truly recharge us.
Yeah, and a key thing here is that Chip isn't just talking off the cuff. He actually cites some compelling science. There was a 2017 study in the Journal of Applied Psychology. It found that workers who took micro breaks, like as short as 2 minutes, reported higher energy and focus through the day.
Really? 2 minutes?
Yes, higher energy compared to those who waited for longer,
Yeah.
less frequent breaks. So it's not just a feeling, it's a measurable effect. It directly backs up Chip's idea. The small reset often beats the perfect reset.
Wow, that's a total game changer, especially for anyone with a packed schedule. Chip shares his own experience, too, discovering that sometimes, yeah, a literal, quick 2-minute shower is enough to just rinse, breathe, and come out ready to go. It clears the mental noise, stops the overthinking spiral. He observed that the tiny reset sometimes feels bigger than it looks.
Exactly. It highlights that it's less about the length of the break and more about the intention behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look broader, Chip gives other examples too, like athletes taking quick water breaks mid-game, musicians pausing for a breath before a big performance, or even the U.S. Army studying tactical naps just 10 to 20 minutes for improved alertness.
Right, power naps.
Exactly. The principle holds true across different fields. Small, intentional resets, used strategically, give you back more mental energy and focus than they actually take up.
Okay, but here's the key part, right? The intentionality. Chip really emphasizes this crucial point. The trick is using these short moments with intention, not just as an excuse to mindlessly scroll through your phone or get lost down some internet rabbit hole.
Correct. It's about a conscious, deliberate break, specifically to clear your head, not just finding another distraction.
So this brings up a good question for you, the listener. Chip's challenge is find your 2-minute shower. And it doesn't have to be a literal shower, of course. Could be stretching for 2 minutes by your desk, making a quick cup of tea mindfully, or even just writing one sentence in a notebook. The core idea is creating that intentional pause. Reset your mental state.
Yeah, just interrupt the pattern.
Exactly. How might those lighter 2 minutes, as Chip calls them, impact the rest of your day? It really makes you rethink what a meaningful break actually looks like. But okay, while these small resets are powerful, sometimes we run into problems that just feel too big, too complicated, and they seem to require a totally different kind of shift to get unstuck.
Precisely. And that brings us perfectly to our final segment for today, where Chip introduces a really unique approach for tackling those bigger, maybe seemingly insurmountable challenges.
Okay, our last deep dive today is from Chip's episode 256, and it's got another provocative title, Why Your Perspective is Holding You Back and How to Fix It. This is where he introduces the concept of borrowed eyes, which is this simple but actually incredibly powerful trick of looking at a problem through someone else's perspective when you feel completely stuck.
Yes, and this is a key insight because it taps directly into a well-established psychological idea called self-distancing.
Yeah.
Basically, by creating a bit of mental distance from your own immediate, intense experience, it actively helps your emotions settle down.
Oh, okay.
Which then allows your reasoning to sharpen up. It leverages something called Solomon's paradox. You know, the idea that we're often much wiser and more objective when giving advice to our friends
Oh, yeah, definitely.
than when we're trying to solve our own very personal, emotionally charged issues. Our own feelings just cloud our judgment sometimes.
I can absolutely relate to that. It feels like you're standing way too close to the painting. You just can't see the whole picture. Chip shares some really practical ways to actually do this, to apply it, like imagining what a close friend or a trusted mentor or even a future, wiser version of yourself would say about the situation. He even suggests maybe talking to yourself in the third person, which, he admits, it feels a little silly, I know, but it works.
Huh?
And sometimes that blend of simple, maybe slightly unconventional, but effective strategies is where the real breakthroughs happen.
But it prompts a crucial question, right? Is this about just outsourcing your decisions, letting someone else decide? No, not at all. The real benefit, Chip argues, is about clearing the windshield so your own judgment can drive.
Oh, I like that metaphor, clearing the windshield.
Yeah. It lets you see your own thoughts more clearly, without all the emotional sog or the cognitive biases that often get tangled up in our personal dilemmas. It essentially helps you make a better, more objective decision for yourself.
Okay, so how can you listening use these borrowed eyes in your daily life? I mean, it seems like it could help with so many everyday situations, like decision fatigue when you just have too many choices, or those frustrating creative blocks, or simply when your emotions are running really high about something. CHIP suggests a very specific technique. Picture a mentor. What would they say in 2 sentences? Just 2 sentences. Often, that succinct, outside perspective is just enough to cut through all your internal noise.
Exactly. And the outcome Chip observed really reinforces the value here. The problem doesn't shrink, but it does feel lighter, and lighter is usually enough to move forward. It's not necessarily about finding some magic bullet solution instantly. It's more about gaining clarity, gaining momentum, and making something that felt intractable start to feel manageable again.
That's it, isn't it? It's about getting unstuck. So a final thought for you. Whose borrowed eyes will you try on next time you find yourself overthinking an email or facing a creative block or just needing a fresh perspective?
Bringing it all together, we've really journeyed through some incredibly insightful observations from Chip today. From cultivating that self-trust and authenticity despite all the external noise, to harnessing discomfort for real personal growth, finding that immense power in short, intentional breaks, and finally unlocking new solutions just by shifting our perspective with those borrowed eyes.
Yeah, this deep dive has really highlighted the value in these ideas, integrating even just 1 or 2 of these small shifts into your daily life. It really could lead to greater clarity, maybe more joy, and definitely a surprising amount of resilience. These principles, championed by Chip in his podcast, are truly valuable tools. Tools for navigating our complex, information-rich world, helping you approach your challenges with hopefully a clearer head and maybe a lighter spirit.
We certainly hope this exploration has sparked some new ideas for you, and maybe provided some valuable shortcuts to being well-informed.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Chip's thoughtful reflections. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.